take on money and trade it. I think
they're going to have to do like a post 6-1.
See if we can get camera 2 up there to start the stream, guys. We'll go ahead and get that rolling there. I see people rolling in. Hey, hello, everybody. We're getting the stream set up here for the second half hour of Leading the Charge. Thank you all for coming in. Can't wait to see everybody. Fixing a little IFB issue.
We on the stream?
I believe we are.
Okay. Hi, stream. Hello.
Michelle, are we on the stream? Or we're not sure. Okay. I do see Joe. If we can switch it to the 3 shot of us.
Let's just do a half-hour stream of just
Joe.
Oh, please no.
That would be like a Joe cam.
I would hate that.
Joe B cam. And I think it was when they got to 1st and goal at the 4. He had a big run stop on the very first play, no gain. And then there was the Trey White breakup. And then I think maybe the intentional grounding or a sack after that, whatever. I think Jordan Poyer has made enough plays that has turned out to be a nice addition for a position, safety, that had a lot of questions. Bishop, we don't even have to talk about him anymore. I assume, Joe, you break the film down. Yeah. You tell me. I think he's playing at a point where you don't even have to worry about him anymore. And Poyer's been a nice add.
Yeah, Cole Bishop has been one of their better players in the second half of the season to this point, and it's been a game changer for them because safety play has been such at the forefront of their defense since Sean McDermott has been around. And when you have good safeties, it's really good. When you have bad safeties, it's really bad, as we saw in 2024. And that's the reason those safeties are, and Poyer is a fish to water with this scheme. Like what he was in Miami last year is not the same player as he is this year because he's in the scheme that suits him the best. But the reason why I continue to believe that this year's ceiling for the defense is higher is partially because of the way that the safeties are playing so far this season, or at least in the second half of the season. Bishop, his instincts stand out every single week. Poyer is prone to do that too. They are both well studied about the opponent, and you can see it in the way that they interpret what's happening in real time on the field. So
Bishop, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, Bishop, you just reminded me that reverse. He read it so well. He's on the weak side. They run the play to the opposite side of the field. And instead of getting sucked over there, he reads it. He sees it coming back in his direction, stays home, and then just fires to the ball and stops that play.
Well, if you remember, that is basically what happened in the Saints interception play, because he was the only one on the defensive side of the ball that recognized what was going on. And I think that play was the play that woke Cole Bishop up into the player he is now. And everything, he talks about, it's not really slowing down because everything still goes fast. Yeah. But at the same time, being able to see and anticipate and allowing your film study and everything that you put in through the week to come through, and also having the knack of knowing when to run and when not to run. That was the biggest issue in 2024, mind you, because they had safeties who were always there. They just never really took chances. And that was a big reason why offenses were continuing to rack up the yards against them, even though they were in the right spot where they're supposed to be. Safeties, in this defense, you need to play hunches. You need to be able to get up the field, and that's exactly what Cole Bishop has been doing.
You know what's crazy, too? Trey White, I think, is also another. You bring up Jordan Poyer. Last week, we talked a lot about Matt Milano and the couple good weeks he has put together. Trey White, I think, given the sample size, I think this stat I was reading was he's led up less than 300 yards for receivers, only 2 touchdowns this year. Not saying that it's a whirlwind, maybe all-pro caliber season from Trey White, but I think he has played exceedingly above expectations compared to where we were. I know the Harrison injury kind of shook things up too. What is just your guys' thoughts on where Trey is and maybe some of the Milano play, these veterans that just seem to be providing this little veteran boost to the defense?
I think you're right about Trey. I mean, I think he's doing better than I anticipated. I wasn't sure he'd make it through the whole season. And they were rotating. I don't know how snap counts played out, but at least in the first half, it looked like they were rotating series with Harrison.
The snap counts actually went vastly in favor of Tre'Davious White for the second time in, I think, the last 4 games, which is a very interesting development, especially with how well Tre'Davious White has been playing.
Milano, too. I know you've been pointing him out in recent weeks. There were vintage Matt Milano plays in this game where, again, his instincts, his ability to read a play, chase it down, get out into the flat to stop a pass to a running back, whatever. I could have lived without the tripping penalty. But other than that, I thought Milano continues. And Joe made a great point in his article for The Athletic about how they're using him. You don't want to overuse him. You want to make sure he's ready to go when you need him in the playoffs. But I think he's also been a guy who's returning to form a little bit. He's not going to be the guy he used to be, but we're seeing those plays in limited snaps.
All right, we got to go to break. We'll continue this conversation. Stick with us on the stream. We'll be right back after this.
What's Thompson's injury? Is that bad?
Neck. But they said day-to-day today.
Okay.
Everybody is day-to-day. We just had a question pop up, too, and this goes back to Howard's conversation on the wide receivers when he's airing grievances. Mike over on X asked, regardless of where the Bills finish, how aggressive would Brandon Beane get for a wide receiver?
Very.
Even though he hasn't necessarily shown it. Do you think this finally
right.
is the year where it breaks?
Yes.
I hope he's right.
Yes.
I don't have that faith. But
Well, if
you're
Brandon
right.
Beane thinks in the mindset of Howard Simon and all of us.
Because he's still going to have to address defensive needs, too.
I remember when Brandon was so frustrated by how little they were able to get heat on the passer.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, they are just pouring resources into defensive end and defensive tackle 1 year after year after year after year. I think this offseason, we are going to see a significant development in the offseason from wide receiver. Now, it all depends on who's available, but I think if there's a trade candidate out there that he is not going to go, well, I got to hang on to my first-round pick this year.
No,
because
you can move it. You moved it for Diggs, right?
Exactly. The trouble is if the Vikings don't take Justin Jefferson, then that deal doesn't look like as bad as it does, even though Diggs was remarkable for this team, but Jefferson is
phenomenal.
He's incredible. Right. But if there's a veteran player out there, or maybe not even a veteran, maybe a young player who's on his rookie deal that is maybe not in the best standing with his current team, the guy I'm kind of thinking about is Brian Thomas Jr., maybe, because the current regime in Jacksonville didn't draft him. And to me, I think that could be one to monitor in the offseason. A.J. Brown is another one I kick around because I think
been unhappy, right?
But there's also some risk there because he's right around 30, and then there's the age cliff and things like that. But at this point, when you have Josh Allen, you maximize and you figure it out later.
Did you say when Michelle came over, did you say George Pickens at all?
No, I didn't. I mean, he's probably going to get franchise tagged and then extended. I don't think the Cowboys want to let him leave.
Yeah, I don't know. He's so interesting, George Pickens.
He is. I don't know about him and his fit here. I think they could make it work, but I think he really benefits from having CD on the field with him. Not saying he's a bad receiver by any means, but it maximizes him, and how much they throw the ball maximizes him. I just think it would be a bit different here. For sure.
All right. Should be coming back on. I don't know how long we have till come back on TV here, but thank you everybody for sending in your questions. We got the stream figured out here. Hope everybody is getting ready for the holiday season. A Merry Christmas, all that good jazz. We have 15 seconds. All right. So we'll go to the TV side. We'll join you there. Keep talking about maybe these wide receivers, a couple defense questions coming in there too. Let's do it. All right, welcome back, leading the charge. Before we went to break, we were talking about the wide receiver position. You heard Howard's great rant in the first half hour. We're talking about it again here too.
I never raised my voice.
You know what it was? It was a passionate proclamation.
was a plea. Yeah, it was more of a please.
Another question we just have off from Mark here. He says, have we thought about trying Keon over at the slot position? I think that is one of a minute problem of this entire wide receiver core. I mean, first, Keon has to see the field, but also I just don't know where this begins offensively, scheme-wise, to even start putting him in a position where it feels like the Bills haven't even started to address
He's the guy. He's brought this up multiple times.
I have repeatedly wondered about getting him there, because I do think that is where the light is still on for Keon Coleman, because as an X receiver in this offense, he's nothing more than a depth player to me. The problem, though, is because the Bills have both Khalil Shakir and Dalton Kincaid on their roster, how many snaps are you really going to attribute to Keon Coleman to work out of the slot, which might be where he's at his best? Now, you could try and couple it and have him go to Z receiver where he's off the line, maybe do a little shake and have these slant routes and some quick outs and things like that. The short area separation is where he's at his best. It's the long field stuff that gets him in trouble. It's the long field stuff is the reason why there isn't separation. I mean, the guy had more boundary snaps than any receiver in the previous game, and he had 0 targets. Of course, there was the defensive pass interference called, but target earning in the NFL is a skill. And if you can't do it consistently, then the team is going to find somebody who can. And that's exactly what we saw this past week.
I think it's a bad sign, too. We're talking about critical games late season.
Sure.
Guy who's a second-round pick who played as a rookie he can't even dress.
3 scratches in the
and it
last
wasn't
6 games.
discipline again.
No.
Discipline again.
Nope.
It was a coach's decision. Like, he can't even dress. That's not a good sign.
Lineup related. And by the way, they dressed 5 receivers. Only 4 of them took snaps.
Hardman was just
Hardman did not take
guy.
a single wide receiver snap.
I'm not trying to like brownie up or get goody two-shoe points with Beauvais here on this one. I do agree with his Gabe Davis, like his whole little plea that he was giving as well. I also think with the way that Brandon Coleman has played, I've been really disappointed with Joshua Palmer. I don't know if there's something deeper coming off the injury still that we're not seeing, because it was the ankle injury, right, when he hurt in Atlanta. So I don't know if there's something deeper with Palmer. I've been really disappointed with what he has provided this season. Why isn't Gabe out there? Why isn't – at this point, I'm willing to give Keon Coleman a shot if it meant you don't dress Brandon Cooks anymore.
Bring up what you wrote about in the article.
The trouble with which one?
About Gabe, maybe there's a plan of what they're doing.
And I asked Sean about it today, and it was false.
I was kind of hoping that was legit.
I thought maybe
I don't know why
he's
he's not dressing.
Like
I thought maybe there was a rest factor into it, because they went from 0 to 100 with his snaps right away from coming off a long-term knee injury. But that is not the case.
I read that and I thought that made sense, because there's no sensible explanation to not play him over other guys.
Yes, but
again, he's not a savior, but Josh trusts him.
Yep,
he can make catches, and other guys are contributing nothing.
That's a big point of that's a big piece of the puzzle. However, to push back on what Beauvais was saying about Brandon Cooks and Gabe Davis would have made that play, Gabe Davis isn't getting as open as Brandon Cooks did on those plays in general. And I do think Palmer, he's just kind of a depth guy. That's what he's been his entire career. And the Bills paid him to be a little bit more than that.
Yeah, they put massive expectations, it feels like.
They did. And this was the first game, I believe, this season that he had more snaps than any other receiver on the team. He's mostly been like a 40 to 50% receiver. And this week he was like a 70% receiver. And still, what did he come away with?
And the larger point is
1 catch.
Yeah, the personnel moves, not just Coleman, but we'll see if Cooks does anything. But Elijah Moore was released, didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. I swear I thought Curtis Samuel was a good signing. I kept waiting for it to turn into be.
I forgot Curtis Samuel was on the team.
What a good signing. He's got like 38 catches in 20 games. I mean, and he's on IR. The repeated problems in terms of personnel decisions at wide receiver, it's really an issue.
I think the bigger issue might be they have had so many like tiny swings.
Yeah,
like
this is not a big swing.
They're hitting for singles and doubles.
Yeah.
And whereas they're not going for yard here. And I think they desperately need one of those, because the last time they did that was Stephon Diggs, and it worked out
great.
Really well.
Yeah. Yep. Joe, I got a question for you. We got to toss a break, so stick with us on the stream. We'll go to him. We'll be right back after this. Goes back. We're
on one, right?
Yes, we are on one.
That's
so I
awesome.
keep looking at 2 because it's a force of habit. That's my bad.
No, that's it.
We had a question pop up. I want to give it because this is right up your alleyway, Joe. Lori had asked, how long will the team be in salary cap jail, ? Because I think that's a big part of not getting a proven wide receiver. I don't necessarily think it's not a cap problem.
They're not in jail anymore. They do have some work to do in the offseason to get cap compliant, but they do have pieces that they can move on from and contracts that they can restructure to get there. Now it depends on how much space you're talking about. And also there's a bunch of other I'm assuming that they're going to restructure Dawson Knox's deal somehow to keep him here, but also get his cap number down. I think Tyler Bass is probably gone because you can save $3-4 million.
Send me the break time.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can save that amount on him. You can save by cutting Taylor Rapp. There's a few different. Curtis Samuel is another one. If you do a post-June one on Joshua Palmer, that's an additional saving. So they do have means to get the cap space, and also they can do a restructure on Josh's deal and open up a ton of cap space. So they do have options to get there. I don't think Brandon Beane is going to rest this offseason until he gets a legit wide receiver. That's just my opinion.
Well, it's one of those things I just feel like you have to, it's like, wait, you have to see it to believe it almost a little bit too. Because it's just like you brought up though, it just hasn't, I think this season finally puts the exclamation mark on it. It's like, Brandon, you got to go do something. Right. But he just it's not been in his history to go out and do any of these moves.
But you're at a point where now it has finally affected the offense.
Yep.
They still put up their points, and I'm sure their rankings are still pretty high. But by the eyeball test, you can see it's not the same explosive, dangerous Bills up. Thank God for James Cook.
Yeah.
Because if he wasn't doing what he's doing and they had to they can't lean on the passing game to win games.
If you have noticed the messaging with the Bills, you have heard a lot of talk about being two-dimensional. It has been a big trope for them for the past month and a half or so. And I think that comes from McDermott, who talks about it a lot. And the fact that they are not two-dimensional, right, I think is really wearing on a lot of people in that building. And that is the reason why I think, think about when Brandon Beane went out and drafted Kaiir Elam. And because everyone was clamoring for a cornerback. He's like, well, I was told by everybody, including people at the grocery store, that we needed a cornerback. So I went and got a cornerback. Guess what people are saying now? And it's just not in the grocery store. He's going to go get a receiver in the offseason.
All right. We're going to come back here in about, 20 seconds or so. We'll talk a little bit about the Eagles. I got a good question here. I think get your guys' takes on. We'll go to another quick break. We'll come back, wrap this up here. Lastly, in the charge for the holiday season. Come back to you on the TV side in a second. All right, welcome back. Leading the charge, everybody. Focusing now. We've talked a lot about the Browns, the inconsistencies. I want to focus on the Eagles just a little bit here. There's a comment from, I believe, Daniel, and I want to see if I can pop it up on the screen here. Maybe Aaron can do that for me in the background. He asked, Saquon Barkley, how much of a threat, or I should say just how much in trouble is the Bills' run defense? I mean, before Quinshad Junkins got hurt yesterday, looked like he was going to have a big day. The guys who came in behind him still had a pretty big day. How concerned are you about somebody like Saquon Barkley?
He won't run for 200. He's good. He's still really good. I mean, they're not getting the explosive run plays they got from him last year, though.
The Eagles' offensive line has been going through a ton of injuries and also worse play than what they got last season.
Yep.
And I think that has certainly impacted them. And the overall state of the Eagles' passing game hasn't been all that great. It's been a huge talking point in Philadelphia. People are very frustrated with the new play caller because Kellen Moore left to go be the Saints head coach. Yep. So there's been a lot of consternation there about that. But I think in general, I'm not as down on the Bills' run defense as others in terms of what they have done recently. Early in the season, they were horrible. They have come such a long way from that point. And I know there was the one Judkins big run that I think went for 40 yards that was called back on a hold. That was a legitimate hold, and Shaq Thompson would have had him
at point of attack. It was right there.
Dead to rights, right then and there. Yeah. So I do think they have done some better things. What worries me a little bit about this upcoming contest is because if Shaq Thompson cannot play and Terrell Bernard is at middle linebacker, he was a source of a lot of the weak moments for the run defense. So I think that could lead to a bigger day for Barkley.
Still too many missed tackles, too.
Yeah.
Got to clean that up.
Yeah,
for sure.
No.
Now, hold that thought. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to do our final segments. We'll wrap things up here on Leading the Charge. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
They're going to get Lane Johnson back, I guess, for this game, supposedly.
Yeah, I haven't even looked into their injury report
I thought Schefter tweeted that out. Maybe Jalen Carter coming back. I didn't follow up on that today.
Whew, he is.
The fact too is like
so
the
good.
Eagles being kind of like this team that's gone up and down, like watching the Lions basically almost.
Yeah.
I mean, they're practically
Lions
eliminated.
defense is just lately has been just
Well, it's just
They're
it's also so
banged
banged
banged up again.
They were banged up last year
Yeah.
too,
And
so
the
it's just
secondary
they just
was-
can't.
So it's not just the Bills. The Niners are also always banged up for some
We should
reason.
mention before you close
Yeah.
the playoff scenario. that
Yes,
if the Colts
absolutely. That
lose,
was
the Bills.
That was going to be my
Okay.
last thing.
All right.
Like playoff scenario, hey, coming up because it's on our channel too. So coming up tonight, Colts lose, Bills are in. Then I might ask you guys too. It's like, hey, like think of the possible scenarios of who the Bills play. Who is the matchup you least want the Bills to have, and then who would be the matchup maybe you want the Bills to have the most, something like that. But yes, I'll bring that up. Bove and I have had.
I think I change my mind every week.
That's what we've had. I'm starting to really get back on like I don't want Baltimore to come back and win this division. Which yesterday, the
I don't
Patriots
think,
kind of
dude,
did.
it's over.
they're done.
It's
I mean,
over.
they're 2 games.
Lamar's hurt.
They're
It's over.
They're what? Are they 2 back now or 1 back?
When they say
Yeah,
on the
He's
back,
out. They don't
See,
have the tiebreaker.
The only thing that needs to happen is the Steelers need to beat the Browns next week, and they're done.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
It's over.
yeah, Baltimore.
It's
How bad
over.
was it? Is he out for?
He was
next
out the
Sunday
rest
already?
of the game.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know
out
about
with
that.
a back
But
injury, didn't come back.
Right. Okay.
that's
But they're
then-
behind him in the standings.
and they've got
too.
the Packers, and the Packers are going to be.
Who do I want him to play and least play? Well, I'll see. Least play. Who do I want him to least play? Jags. I haven't watched enough of the Jaguars this season to really like beat the crap out of the Denver defense.
They're fun.
Yeah, that was impressive.
I underestimated the Jaguars. I talked a lot of smack about the Jaguars, and they might be good.
Yeah.
Did a lot because I was like Trevor Lawrence. I don't think so. But here we go. Good to have you back leading the charge here. Dom, Joe, Howard. I'm bringing up Lori's question because perfectly segues into the point I want to bring up. She says, go 49ers tonight. Yeah, Lori, she is correct because if the 49ers beat the Colts, the Buffalo Bills will clinch a playoff spot for the 7th consecutive season. So I'll admit that. It's a good scenario to have. The Buffalo Bills have a couple potential matchups. I want to know who is the team right now amidst what you think the projection wise, who's going to be in the playoffs in the AFC. Who's the team you least want the Buffalo Bills to play?
And I'm going to base this on the Bills where we are today, a wild card team, and who's in the lead in the divisions right now. Play Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I'll take Pittsburgh any day of the week.
I think everybody takes that one.
Take Pittsburgh. The team I least want, I kind of change my mind every week. And I was just saying in the break to the guys here that I haven't watched enough of Jacksonville, but I had Red Zone on, and they were just destroying what's a really good Denver defense. So flavor of the week, I'll go Jacksonville to stay away from, and I'll play Pittsburgh.
All right, Joe.
I think in terms of who they would want to play most, it would be Pittsburgh, just because I think they match up really well, and they prove that they can go to Pittsburgh and win, which is exactly what they would need to do. In terms of team that the Bills should least want to see, I don't think that team exists.
You got to pick one. That's the purpose of the segment, Joe.
No, I think the Bills can.
Well, it can beat anybody.
If you. Well, it's not as though I think the Bills are a worse team.
Bad matchup.
I don't think so. I mean, Houston and Denver would be the on paper, but in general, I think if you told me Bills are playing any of those 6 other teams, I'm picking the Bills.
Yeah, I would too. I'm just saying.
The Bills are battle testing the playoffs a lot more than the
point of the segment was a team you'd not want to see them play, but they can beat anybody.
That's why I went contrarian.
And that's why Joe B is
just
an LTC contributor all-star here too.
For that reason alone.
Yes, I do, Joe.
Kind of our last question, real quick thought here before we wrap up. I didn't even think this. Are the Eagles have clinched a playoff spot? Are they
clinched the division?
Yeah, so they play in every.
Seeding.
Do we think they're
seeding.
playing everybody
For
here?
seeding.
So okay,
Yeah.
But they're pretty much they can't get a 1 seed. They're stuck at like the 3 seed at this point in the.
I don't think
NFC.
they want to. I'll check right now, but I don't think they want to get to a 4.
So yeah, I don't. It's an interesting
The
matchup.
4 is playing the second place team in the West, which is going to be a really good
It's
first
the
round
Rams.
opponent.
But the Bills are in this
Right now
unique
it's the Rams.
situation too, where the Bills ultimately just have to keep playing to win every game because you have to try getting
And
to either the 5 or
quickly,
the 6 seed.
On the division, remember, that New England just has to beat the Jets or the Dolphins. The Jets announced today they're going to play Brady Cook at quarterback against New England this week.
Congratulations to New England.
And Miami might be sticking with Quinn Ewers. So the Patriots could face Brady Cook and Quinn Ewers or maybe Zach Wilson. I don't see them losing both those games.
For what it's worth, Philly is still in contention for still the 1 and the 2 because they're only a game behind Chicago.
Okay. So
All right.
there it is.
Nice
See you
job.
there. No, good job. Thank you for everybody for sticking with me, going through my voice here. My cup of tea is honestly, that's my unsung hero segment. I normally don't ever get to do. For Matt Bove, Howard Simon, Joe Biscaglia, Aaron, and Michelle in the control room, we wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from all of us here at Leading the Charge. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Bye, stream.
Good night, stream.
Good night, stream. Drink your vitamin C.
Happy
And good
holidays.
luck. Be good. Do good. God bless. Go Bills. And Niners.